An intense battle at the top of government has ended. One victorious, one vanquished. Sue Gray is no longer at the heart of Keir Starmer's government. Here last month at the White House.
Britain needs stability, not more chaos.
She attended Labour's manifesto launch. She was meant to have planned its first 100 days in office, but there have been persistent high-level leaks criticising her actions in government, and she was gone on day 93.
A culture that allows that level of briefing is a toxic culture in which trust is eroded.
The Keir Starmer you suspect might have read the Riot Act to people in their new jobs. Don't let this briefing happen again.
I certainly hope so. I've had the Riot Act occasionally from Keir. He's quite good at it.
I suspect people may have thought that I am perhaps too much of a challenger or a disruptor. I am both.
Sue Gray explaining a previous hiccup in her career. She attended last year's party conference. Her critics say she tried to downgrade or drop many Labour advisers in office. She told friends it was a quality issue. Her critics said she was building a power base. Morgan McSweeney watching Keir Starmer speak before the election campaign he masterminded. He's tried being chief of staff before, and Keir Starmer seems to be getting through them. Were you getting flashbacks when you heard about Keir Starmer getting rid of a chief of staff?
No, not flashbacks. I've done all my processing and, dealt with my unresolved feelings on the subject. Morgan McSweeney, in his first tour of duty as Chief of Staff, did about 15 months before my appointment. I did about 15 months. I think Sue's done something similar. So there seems to be a natural flow of these things.
Keir Starmer, don't be cruel! Give us back our winter fuel!
In Westminster today, a demonstration to restore the winter fuel allowance for all pensioners. In the long wait for the budget, it's become the single new unexpected policy that Labour in office has become known for many a giant political mistake. Margaret Thatcher's first Chancellor took 41 days to come up with his first budget. After Labour's last landslide, it took the team 62 days to produce a budget. David Cameron's government's first budget came 47 days after the election. But Keir Starmer's government will have been in office for 118 days before Rachel Reeves gets round to unveiling her first budget.
The Labour government's been defined by its only spending action, which is to take away the winter fuel allowance from 10 million pensioners. And so while waiting for the budget, the only indication of Labour's priorities, it seems that we want to take money away from welfare and from older people.
Side by side early in Sue Gray's tenure, Morgan McSweeney has now had his first full day in the job. Keir Starmer hoping a campaign strategist can do what a career civil servant could not. Talk to people who've known Keir Starmer for years, and they quite often talk about how he's not like other politicians, the ones you'd normally meet in Parliament, people who've been obsessed by politics since they were infants or embryos. He actually doesn't like politicians that much. He doesn't like politics that much. And the Sue Gray appointment was kind of a part of all of that, to see if you can do politics a slightly different way. But now he's going to be injecting politics, he hopes, into the top of his government like some sort of adrenaline shot with the appointment of Morgan McSweeney. So if it's not a giant change, it is an adaptation, perhaps, the way he was going about things. Why did the Sue Gray experiment fail? We'll talk to her critics in government, and they say she was secretive, she was on mission creep, she was dabbling in party politics when she shouldn't be, she wasn't as organised as people say. Talk to her allies, and they say actually what they came across was a feral band of SPADs, special advisers, who've been bonded together in the anti-Corbynista years. There is an interesting point here as well about the politics of the government now. Sue Gray made a point of reaching out to ministers who felt unloved perhaps by Keir Starmer's leadership. On the soft left mainly, the wounded bird strategy, one of her critics in government called it. And over time, some of those critics inside government felt that she was becoming an advocate for those very ministers who felt slightly outside the magic circle. But what's happened now is that those people have lost Sue Gray, and we've talked in the past about how with Keir Starmer's shadow cabinet when he first came in, very soft left dominated, it's been a bit like a game of sort of grandmother's footsteps. Every time he turns round, the right of the party have moved up around the table. They're now in all the senior positions around him. And they, with their focus on trying to get hardline messages out on immigration, on welfare, They, in the form of Morgan McSweeney, are now at the very centre of day-to-day government.